Here are the 35 times police officers messed with the wrong criminals. In this video, we showcase intense encounters where officers faced unexpected challenges. Watch as these situations unfold in ways no one could predict, highlighting the unpredictability of law enforcement. Two relaxed cops let an arrested guy escape their watch.
Tomou tiro na perna, no quadril e outro no peito. Foi salvo por esse tiro no peito pelo colete à prova de balas. O outro também foi alvejado na perna. Tudo isso de acordo com a polícia militar.
The policemen stationed outside the police station are charged with bringing an arrested criminal into custody. One of the police officers goes to the boot of the police van. When he opens the boot, the guy steps out. His hands are cuffed behind his back. He looks unassuming and non-threatening to the oblivious cops. The cop brings him to the door to get into the station. However, he has something shocking planned for them.
E o Lucas Castanhari dos Santos, 25 anos. Esse aí que a gente já viu nas imagens, fugindo no momento em que descia.
The cop holding the criminal lets down his guard, thinking this will be an easy job. Knowing both cops are relaxed, he dashes to the exit swiftly with the cops hot on his heels. They're too slow. The police leave a dangerous criminal unchecked in a courtroom to escape.
The escape is on. Gerald Hyde II somehow gets away from the guards and runs out of the empty courtroom. Before he leaves, he takes off his shirt to cover the handcuffs still on his wrist.
The guy exits from a door to an empty courtroom. Presumably, his case is about to be tried in court. He needs to escape before that. Seeing no one in the room, he runs to the double doors that serve as an exit. At the door, he takes off his black shirt. He wants to disguise himself to fool the guards outside.
Hyde then runs through the hallways of the Justice Center, leaving his orange jail-issued shoes behind. He then runs outside through the front doors barefoot.
He walks out unassailed, not recognized by anyone. He shows cunning, knowing it won't be long before the cops know he has escaped. He runs to the exit, towards his freedom. Smart criminal gang shakes off police shake with an epic street race.
Verdadeiro espalha-rodas. O motoqueiro dá o pinote. Essa outra moto também tenta se evadir para fugir da abordagem.
The policeman arrives at a crime scene. He sees the criminal in his red and black striped hoodie. The guy immediately rides off on his bike. He is determined to escape and does. The police, frustrated at losing him, see his accomplice. A man and woman on a similar bike are about to collide with his bike.
A perseguição se concentra no casal. O motoqueiro entra numa viela.
The previous guy abandoned his bike on the road as an obstacle to slow down the cop to let his accomplice escape. Bonnie and Clyde lead the policeman on a merry-go-round chase through several streets.
O sem noção continua acelerando.
The guy drops off the lady and rides off, leaving the cop with no choice but to chase him. Without her, the guy rides off unimpeded and eventually shakes off the cop. Sloppy cops can't capture a criminal after being boxed in by 3 cars. The police successfully block the criminal's path in his car after a brutal chase. A policeman comes out to arrest him. Although boxed in, the criminal will not leave his car. The policeman struggles to drag him out with no success. The criminal tries to escape again, seeing the cop's sloppy performance. A third cop car arrives blocking his path. One of the cars circles around to block his rear exit. 2 cops are now trying to get him out. This doesn't stop him. He presses hard on his accelerator till his tires smoke and breaks out of the police siege. He escapes. Cop allows an offending driver to escape a routine traffic stop. A traffic officer on a routine stop uses his body to block the way of the car. He slaps the trunk of the car, urging and threatening the owner to stop and get out. The car and its owner do not budge. The cop leaves to get reinforcement. When he returns, he stands on the side of the car. He unwittingly gave the driver a golden opportunity to escape. He takes it, swerving away from the cars in his path. He speeds away, leaving the cop eating his dust. Cop lets the Mercedes car owner that hit him escape, chasing on foot. The Mercedes owner is driving with exhaust pipe smoke polluting the air and blinding drivers. Justifiably, the cop stops the car, ordering the owner to step out. Probably laughing at the cop, the driver tries driving off. The cop jumps on the hood of the car to stop the driver. The car shakes him off the hood and speeds off. The cops give chase on foot through a crowded New York road. The cops tire quickly and it's clear they can't catch the driver. He outsmarted them. Smart criminal evades arrest and cruise around the neighborhood. The criminal drives around on his bike as if cruising and unafraid of the cops giving chase. Unsurprisingly, the police car pulls up on him, blocking his path. A cop jumps out to grab the criminal from his bike. The criminal evades and rides off the road to escape the cops. The criminal successfully escapes and continues to cruise around the neighborhood. The cops don't stand a chance when it comes to escaping in the neighborhood. A reckless driver disappears under the watchful eyes of the cops under an overpass.
Because they were in that tracking mode. Again, that's when law enforcement decides to pull off because it's just too dangerous. So now we are transitioning over. Let's see what happens here. University Park.
The driver drives recklessly on the road, crossing and blocking other drivers, paying no heed to the traffic or speed limit. The police chase him with a helicopter, tracking his movements. There are no police cars giving chase.
To go into tracking mode. And so now it's come back eastbound on the 10. Now we're going northbound on Adams. We're coming up to Washington, very busy area. We're kind of headed up to the Crypto Arena.
The driver knows he is being followed and has plans to shake off the cops from the trail. How he goes about it is straight out of an action movie. The car reaches an overpass and drives underneath it. The car doesn't drive out seconds later. The car seems to have disappeared, or the driver changed cars. Car-hiding criminal breaks out of a police siege unscathed. A white car is targeted by a cop. The cop points a gun at the car, chasing it into a blockade. The driver must be shocked by this, but will not go down easily. Several other cops form a ring around the car. They kick, scream, and point guns at the car. The car reverses and collides with a police car behind it. It seems escape will be impossible. The driver shoots forward to push apart the two cars blocking its path. The attempt is unsuccessful. A cop takes the chance to try and break the car's window. Undeterred, the car reverses and gathers momentum to ram apart the cars in front of it. The car and its occupant escape. Cops embarrassingly lose a car chase to a pro-driver criminal.
Nevada. Okay, cross street. There you go. Lock him in.
The cops chase a white car that drives in reverse, under extreme pressure. The cops keep driving to make the car crash into the police car behind it. As if he had eyes behind his head, the driver easily maneuvers out of the car's path. The cops' cars close around the car to trap it in. The car evades them still and escapes. The police chase after the car, but they have lost the car a few blocks earlier. They lose the chase, but they search in several streets and can't find any trace of the car. They are dealing with a pro. 18 criminals escaped from prison due to the negligence of a sleeping cop.
Dos sombras ejecutan roles, a todas luces, bien planificados. Una posiciona estructuras de fierro y la otra ata cuerdas guía a las tablas que los llevarán hasta el muro perimétrico.
It looks like any other day, but this group of men are prepared to escape from prison. After setting stools to use as support, they get wooden planks they use as a makeshift bridge to get to the wall. The first man to go ties a rope to the pole on the wall. One by one, they make it over the bridge and get to the ground using the rope.
Y que les permitió llegar al techo del venusterio. Pero además, en la responsabilidad administrativa, también rotaron al director del penal y al jefe de seguridad que apenas tenían 2 semanas en el cargo. Pero aquí hay algo que no encaja. Una fuga tan bien planeada y ejecutada, con tal capacidad logística, ¿se pudo desplegar en solo 13 días? ¿O se trató de una bomba que no desactivaron a tiempo? El 9 de agosto, 2 meses antes.
Their escape was possible because a prison watch guard was sleeping on duty. Had the criminals planned this, knowing the guard's sleeping routine, or was this a coincidence? A man helps a suspect escape trial in a court. The man stands a few feet away from the court's door. He seems pensive, looking at the door expectantly. As if on QE, the door opens and a young man runs out with the cops chasing him. The suspicious young man follows. Whatever his plans are, they are unfolding nicely. The man runs too fast for the cops to catch him. He leaves the court's premises. To the unsuspecting cops, the other young man exits the court and runs after the man. He plans to help the criminal escape capture. There should be a getaway car nearby. The suspect fools cops and escapes as they search an empty house. A couple of cops gather around a white door. One of them is slamming a ram against the door to get it open. It's taking too long. The suspect inside the house should be making plans to escape. The door opens and they rush in. A cop stays outside to monitor the door, yet the suspect outwits the cop. He escapes through a window on the second floor. Comically, he runs away, leaving the cops searching an empty house. A suspect escapes court after being tased and chased. A cop drags a man through the door. The man keeps resisting. As soon as he gets into the courtroom, he bursts out with surprising strength to run from the cop's hold. The other cop joins him to restrain the suspect. They are unable to bring him down even after shooting him with a taser. He bolts out of the courtroom. He runs faster and faster to the exit, to the dismay of the slow cops chasing him. Another cop tries grabbing him at the exit, but the suspect slips away to freedom. Cops underestimate a driver on the highway, and he escapes.
On a pretty mellow week here, and look at this! Oh, look at this! I have never seen CHP do that.
Yeah.
This is the different vehicle, a different unit, pulling right in front of the suspect, and it makes you now really wonder if they have a clearer indication that this person is not so dangerous, if you will. I wonder what intelligence they are working with to come to these to these decisions, because this is not the most orthodox way of handling these pursuits. But I would venture to say they probably, at this point...
The cops are chasing a car on a highway. One of the cop cars blocks the way of the car, but the driver maneuvers out of the cop's way. He drives off again with several cop cars chasing him from the back. The thrilling car chase seems to have come to an end when the suspect encounters congested traffic on the road.
Englewood streets here. This is holiday light traffic on a pretty mellow week here. And look at this! Oh, look at this! I have never seen CHP do that.
Yeah.
This is the different vehicle, a different unit, pulling right in front of the suspect, and it makes you now really wonder if they have a clearer indication that this person is not so dangerous, if you will. I wonder what intelligence they are working with to come to these to these decisions, because this is not the most orthodox way of handling these pursuits. But I would venture to say they probably, at this point, maybe put the idea of a pit maneuver on hold. Look at this, another attempt to come up in front of him here and cut him off. And look at that, with other traffic in the way, now they're almost antagonizing him, and he's just not pulling over. But they are trying some really unique tactics here to try and communicate and try and block him in. We very rarely, at least here in Southern California, we very rarely see them box these vehicles in. It's something that's much more common in other jurisdictions around the country. But look at that, he's playing with a Coke bottle. It looks like an empty Coke bottle there.
One of the cop cars attempts to block the car's path again. Yet the driver slips away, using tight, open spots on the road to escape the police chase. He ditches the cops behind and drives off to enjoy his win. A woman fools a cop in his car and escapes arrest.
How did she get out of those handcuffs? How did she open the door? And did the deputy sheriff who arrested her do everything?
When the cops arrested this woman, they didn't think she'd be much of a trouble. She showed them otherwise. While driving back to the station, the woman had squeezed one of her hands out of her cuffs. According to available information, she told the cop she was hot, and he turned on the AC. She complained still, and he rolled down the window. When the car stops on the road, she opens the door from the outside, gets out of the car, and begins running. The suspect escapes arrest on his bike while cops chase him on foot. The suspect on the bike in a blue shirt sights the cops ahead, ready to apprehend him. He turns off the road abruptly to go the other way. He miscalculates and falls. He quickly gets up on his bike. He has just seconds before he's caught.
Der certo. Hoje vai dar ruim. Se tudo der certo.
The cops chase after him, but he's quick to get on his bike and ride off. To ensure the safety of civilians, the cop doesn't shoot, allowing the suspect to escape. Murder suspect escapes courthouse from 2 distracted cops. Two cops usher a guy in cuffs into the police reception room. His hands are cuffed to his sides as well as his legs. One of the cops takes off the cuffs and the guy sits. He is in a courtroom as a suspect in a murder case. The evidence must be damning because he thinks that escape is a must. He rises from his seat and looks like he wants to stretch his legs. The cops are distracted. He leaps into a run. The cops, shocked, chase him. He runs too fast, showing he knows his way around the courthouse. An unarmed suspect evades cops, keeping them out of his house. The guy is chased by cops in their car. He makes it to a house, presumably his house. He locks the gate, keeping the cops out. The cops get out of their car. Angrily, they kick at the gate. This doesn't faze the suspect. He feels safe here. What are the cops to do? The suspect retreats into his house, ignoring the cops. They can do nothing. They return to their car. Either they are calling for reinforcement or have given up. Still, the suspect has escaped. A suspect escapes arrest by a SWAT team in a bulldozer. There is a bulldozer on the lawn by the road, driving from a fleet of cop cars chasing it. Surprisingly, it's an old woman driving the bulldozer. She expertly weaves the huge car on the pedestrian walk. A SWAT team has been called to get the situation under control, but from the look of things, the old lady won't get into police custody easily. Two suspects run amok in a temporary detention center. The cop releases two people from temporary detention. The cop leads the men away, as they are now free to leave. However, he was negligent. In releasing the two men, he had let his guard down, which created an opening for the criminals to plan their friend's escape. A guy dressed in black goes to the door the cop had opened and fiddles with the lock. Another accomplice keeps an eye out for the cops. They both search for their accomplices in the cells. Woman escapes police car while cop is distracted. The cop seems to be filing a document on the trunk of his police car. The suspect, a woman, sits close to the car door with the window rolled down. Everything is aligned perfectly for her, and she takes her chance. Even with her hands cuffed, she deftly stretches one hand out to open the door. She dashes away. The lady escapes to the shock of everyone. Presumably, the cop will chase her with the car, but for now, she outwits the negligent cop. The suspect leads the cop on a wild chase into the bush. The suspect is in a white car and is being chased by a policeman on a bike. The suspect will not stop his car. He drives off madly to shake off the cop. The cop is undeterred even when they enter meandering routes. The suspect knows the streets well, but the cop is like a dog with a bone. He will not give up the chase. The suspect has driven himself into an undrivable street. He has no choice but to stop his car and run on foot. The cop stops as well, thinking he can apprehend the suspect. The suspect runs into the bush that he knows well. 3 suspects escaped a police chase from the business district. 3 friends, after robbing a company in the business district, try to escape through the rooftop steps. They had calculated that the cops wouldn't arrive at all. They keep walking around the rooftop to get to the stairs that will lead them downstairs. One of the friends notices the cops are present. They consider running. The cops might not catch them if they are fast enough. They arrive on a floor a few feet above the ground. 2 of the guys jump to the ground and begin to run for their lives. The friend who is unable to jump watches the cops chase his friends. He jumps down a while later and runs in the opposite direction of the cops chasing his friends. After trying to look suspicious and taking off his shirt, he escapes. A suspect escapes a courthouse, scaring everyone and the cops. The cops stand outside the courthouse, waiting or just keeping guard. To their surprise, a suspect runs out the back door and makes a run for freedom. Shocked into alert, they give chase. The suspect runs, frightening everyone else to run, making it hard for the cops to chase him. He evades the cops and gets to the wall around the courthouse. He tries jumping over the wall for his freedom. The suspect escapes a cop's custody on the highway. It's a calm night drive on the highway when the driver sees ahead a man jumping out of a car and running. Seconds later, someone chases. They get closer and he sees it's a suspect and a cop in a chase on the highway. Straight out of a cartoon, the cop chases the suspect across the road with a gun raised, yet he doesn't shoot. The suspect is too fast for the old cop and eventually loses him. A suspect jumps out of a speeding car to throw cops off his trail. This daring suspect jumps out of a speeding car onto the road. The car is going fast and doesn't stop after the suspect has jumped out. Shrugging off the pain and hidden bruises, the suspect leaps into the nearest bush. He wants to get lost and far away from here before the police car chasing him catches up. The police car speeds past the place where he jumped off into the bush. They chase the car, hoping he will be there. The suspect is miles away in the opposite direction. A suspect escapes the courthouse, leaving a cop tumbling down the stairs. The suspect runs from the cops in a courtroom. The police are fast, but he's faster. One of the cops sees him running and joins the other cops to chase him. At the stairs, the suspect glides down, and a cop jumps after him but fails. The cop rolls down the stairs, stalling the other cops from chasing the cop. The fallen cop can't chase the suspect anymore, asking for help from his colleague. Only one cop is left chasing the escaping suspect. The suspect's car crashes and escapes a police chase. The suspect's car crashes into other cars in the street in a haste to get away from the cops. His mini-truck flips over. The accident ought to have incapacitated him, but within a few seconds, he opens the door of the car and jumps out. He takes off on foot. This is a desperate man willing to do anything not to get caught. The cops arrive at the accident scene, knowing he has escaped, and keep chasing his ghost. Suspect jumps from the courthouse balcony to escape cops and sentencing. Courtrooms seem to be a prime place for criminals to run. This guy just heard his sentencing and, unable to bear it, runs out and jumps down the second floor of the courthouse from the balcony. This stuns the cops, lawyer, and everyone watching. The suspect is daring, and if the jump is successful, he can escape before the cops catch up on the second floor. 2 suspects evade cops and medical checkups. During a medical checkup for 2 arrested suspects, the cops are negligent watching the men. With the cops' attention elsewhere, both men break into a run. The cops are quick to chase after them. The men run out of the building and burst into the night where they can easily ditch the cops. This is bound to be an unsuccessful chase for the cops. A suspect sips out of a gate as smooth as an eel. The suspect sees the cops are not close by or watching him. He ducks and pushes his leg through the space between the metal bars of the gate. He easily slips out through the gate with his small frame. When the cops come to the scene, they'll be shocked at his absence. The suspect walks away nonchalantly, not scared of being chased. He's confident. Skilled suspect escapes with roller skates. A cop car is chasing after this suspect. The neighborhood is alive with lights and cheers as they watch the spectacle. The suspect runs with his roller skates shoes, keeping his distance from the police car. He zips by with the cops trudging behind him. This is a night to remember for onlookers. A suspect escapes a cop chase due to a lucky break. The suspect in a red helmet drives by in a street of his with his accomplices. As he gets away, one of the men on the street pushes a trash truck into the way of the cops. They run. The cops lose their quarry and are unable to catch the accomplices. One of the cops chases the running crowd, while the other knows it's a lost cause. Motorcyclist steals bike and escapes cop chase. The suspect rides off with the bike, quickly putting a large distance between him and the cop car. He seems to enjoy taunting the cops by slowing down for them to get close enough, then he distances himself. The suspect slows down, gets close to the cop car, and turns back the way he was coming. The suspect keeps taunting the cops and circling the car, taking impossible turns for the car to follow. Thereafter, he is done playing and zips away, leaving the cops behind.